Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our World of Paws podcast.
Yes, and in today's podcast, we're covering what's considered one of the best rom-com animes ever made,
Toradora! This slice of life anime is based on a series of light novels, and it follows Ryuuji Takasu, who we love, who seems like a scary thug, but is truly a nice guy because of the way they make his eyes.
Yeah, it's like, that's it!
They made him that way, true. And on his first day of high school, he meets Taiga Aisaka AKA the Palmtop Tiger, who looks innocent, but is the scariest girl in the school.
Calm down!
Eventually, they work together to help win over the crushes, who happen to end up being each other's best friends.
Yes, and before we start with that interesting plot, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Absolutely. I picked up the first couple volumes of this manga and decided we just should give it a try. And we had seen that it was available on Netflix.
Yeah, they
weren't
added
sure
it.
whether we were going to watch it or not.
Yeah, we just kept it in our list till further notice.
And I read that first volume, and I was only a few pages in. We gotta watch this. We gotta watch this. We gotta watch this. And Rascal says, "But you do know the anime was written from the manga." Well, it didn't matter. The manga is so fantastic as well that he had to watch the anime. And by the time Rascal saw the first episode, she was hooked. I was hooked the first few pages of the manga. She was hooked the first few minutes of the anime, and the rest is history. This has become one of our favorite rom-coms, slice of life animes ever. It's one of my top three, along with Maid-sama and Oran. It's just outstanding.
Yes, and going to this first, like you said, with the manga, it starts off a little different from the anime, not knowing that the manga was later because it was a light novel, then an anime, then a manga, which they're still not done with 10 years later, they might want to add. It's crazy. But the anime is, okay, well, since this was first, I want to see this first because they can make changes, which they did, but it wasn't like that many. They just added more humor to the book. And with the first episode, yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And the thing is, there's no fantasy element or supernatural. There's no superhero. It's not. Yeah, it's not screwball like Oran.
Well, there's a little fantasy the way she beats the crap out of Ryuuji and all the desk and the table and everybody else.
Okay, well, it's not
supernatural.
Yeah, it's not supernatural then. Yeah, all that. It really is supposed to be grounded, other than her having these unfathomable strength.
Yeah.
Aside from that, yeah, it does stay pretty grounded. And then you start watching, and everybody's got some level of crazy with them. And they act normal, but they got a crazy edge to them.
I think what's interesting when you mention that is in the manga, they decided to go a little crazier on some of the characters.
Yeah.
They were really kind of mild compared to the manga. Like in the manga, Kirimura really is just loony.
Out.
And the mom stays in her underwear with his mom all the time, and she's always face down, butt up.
What?
And he pulls her legs from under her
No.
and covers her up and takes care of her like she's a little kid. And they kind of toned that down for the anime. And I guess when they were able to do the manga, they said, well, let's just go crazy.
Yeah.
But it is fun. It's not disrespectful. It's not fan service. I guess it could be.
Yeah,
But
if
to
there's,
me,
it's very
it just,
mild.
it just fits in, as you mentioned, the craziness of the characters. And she's more crazy in the manga.
Right.
But you never doubt for a moment how much she loves Ryuuji.
Right. And yeah, for fan service, it's very little. Like, there's a scene or two or three. And after 25 episodes, that's really all you get. They really try to keep it as wholesome as possible, which is part of its charm. They're not trying to go
Except
like
for that scene with Minori and Kinemura coming out with his towel from the shower.
That's it. That's like the worst. That's the worst it got. And that's really it. That's the worst it got in terms of that type of stuff.
And it's worse in the manga.
Yeah, it's like, well, no, we're gonna have any limits here. It's like, good grief.
But it's such a joy to watch. It's such fun. And what's really great about it is within the craziness, within the storytelling, within the fun, there are relationships that are being built, and there are relationships that they're showing you. Sometimes the way we look at people isn't how they are.
Yes.
When we sit and you fantasize and you put them on a pedestal, not really knowing them, and then you grow to really know that these people have feelings and their own dreams and desires, and it's not just what you're putting on them. I think that was a really big part
Yes.
of the story without beating you over the head with it and
Right.
being preachy. It revealed that during the course of the anime.
Right, and that's part of why it's gotten so popular. It's not as big as Anime Sama, but it has its own fan base that wants it to keep growing. And as part of the attraction is how they handle relationships and romance. It doesn't feel like they rushed until maybe the last few minutes of the last one because it looks like they didn't have enough episodes towards the end. But they like how they portray it. It feels realistic. It doesn't feel like, oh, you know what's gonna happen. Except I kind of did and kind of didn't, because there were times you thought it was going one way and it went a different way, and then it went that way, and it kind of kept giving you surprises, which what was missing from the manga. The manga makes it a bit obvious what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And for the anime, the one thing is that it's supposed to be obvious, and it isn't. With the title Toradora, it kind of tells you what the ship is, and we didn't even get it until it got towards the end.
Well, here's the thing. In the beginning, Rascal was pretty sure they're going to end up together. And I said, well, wait, let's see, because it's not going that way. And I really believed all the way into the second to the last episode of the third, 3 episodes from the end, I think,
Yeah.
that they weren't going to end up together, that maybe they would end up with their respective crushes. But you said they weren't. And I kept saying, oh no. And then when it got further in, especially when it got to the Christmas,
Yeah.
and you said, well, maybe I was wrong. They're not going to end up together. And then wham! And
Oh gosh!
yes,
Oh,
it's
everything!
like, oh my gosh, you were right. Oh my
All
gosh.
the-
you were
yes,
right.
yes. When it gets to that's another thing for a lot of people is that it's often. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that was the fun part of watching this. We had 2 opposing views of what was going to
Yeah.
happen. And then by the time you get to
19.
the end,
Yeah.
and you know what's gonna happen, it was okay. We were both fine with what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh mine. Oh, it was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. So
Yes. That was one of those fun parts, and for a lot of people, it's how crazy it shifts at 19. Like 1 through 18 is just crazy as heck. Off the wall, all these people are crazy, and it's hilarious, and you get your little fun moments. Then it gets to 19, and then after that scene, you realize what's gonna happen. It just shifts. Everything is emotional. Everything is just ripping at your heartstrings. Then you feel sorry for Taiga. Then you feel sorry for Ryuuji. Then it's like, oh my gosh, how is this gonna get any sadder? And it's just like it just hits you like a train. It's like, okay, why is it sad now? And it becomes like, please let them come together. It was just like, oh my gosh.
And one thing I really like about this anime that's different from many others we've seen is a lot of times it starts out, you give people the backstories quickly. In this one, Luigi's backstory didn't come to the end. Taiga's kind of was interwoven all throughout it. Kitamura's, you kept getting it in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Minarin's really didn't come into one specific episode, and you really learn the truth about her life. Kawashima, hers, you kind of got bam, hers in the beginning. You find out the truth about her, and then she grows as a character. I really like that everyone's was a different pace.
Yes.
And you don't get that in a lot of animation shows or anime. They have, their regular ways of doing it. But
Right.
this one did it in a whole different way where everyone was treated as an individual and their backstories were done at a different pace.
Right.
I really, really loved that about
Yes.
this anime.
Yes, and then we were also surprised to find out that the author of the light novels intended for the target demographic to be men. And at first we were
like,
confused. Like, how?
But when we first started watching, we're like, no, why would this appeal to guys? But then Ryuuji is just this regular guy, and he's not anime pretty. He's good looking, but he's not anime pretty that usually just
Like
draws
with
people
Oron,
in.
yeah.
Right. But he's just this wonderful person with this wonderful heart, and he takes care of his mom, and he's loving and caring. He can do anything. He's like Bakugo in terms of he can do anything. He's smart. It's just like he's the whole package. And you're stunned that this is the way he's presented. And I told Rascal, this is probably her dream man.
The author.
To be, yes, her dream man. This is probably her man. Unless she's in real life. And then you understood why guys can relate.
Right, because when I went on to YouTube to see if anybody talked about the light novel, manga, anime, whatever, and I looked for a lot of reviews, and it was unlike with like MHA and Full Metal Alchemist and Oron, where it's like no matter the demographic, there was like an equal amount of guys and women watching, or you can see more women watching because of the guys look. But for Toradora, I only see guys talk about the anime. I don't think I've found a girl actually talking about this show.
Except for us, which we do nonstop on Twitter. Check out our channel. All we do is retweet, talk, retweet, pictures, retweet, talk, Toradora.
Yeah, so it really is, and for a lot of guys, it's their favorite anime or their favorite rom-com, and they watch stuff like Black Butler, Fullmetal Alchemist, the dark and the action anime. Then they get Toradora, and that's at the top of their list from everything they watch, and it's a whole different genre from what they watch, and it's a bunch of guys' favorites.
Another thing that's really odd about that is, for some reason, a lot of girls or women, females, or don't like Taiga, and we love her.
Yeah.
But the men love Taiga.
Yeah. All the
way
merch
she
is
beats
for
the crap out of Ryuuji, and how she's aggressive, and
right?
she beats the crap out of people who bother the people she cares about. You would think they wouldn't, because she's aggressive.
Yeah.
But the guys love Taiga. We love her too. We think she's adorable, and she's just a unique character. And yeah, she's abrasive.
Yeah.
But again, when you get her backstory and you learn
Right.
more about her, you're like, oh my gosh, she just needs love from friends.
Yeah.
She just needs love, period.
Yeah.
And
So-
then she's getting that with their little, I would say, the Team Ryuuji, that's
Yes.
what I'm gonna call them.
Yeah.
She ends up getting
So
that from
it
her
makes
friends.
right. So in the beginning, we did feel the same, like, oh gosh, is this how she really is? And then
But you
Yeah,
laugh.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care. Even the beginning, the first time she kicks the crap out of him,
Yeah.
you end
Yeah.
up laughing.
In the
because you're like, how did she
animation.
get her leg that high? He's as tall, she's as short, and she manages to do it. And he lets her do it.
yeah, it was just like, how is this possible? There are even points where the animation changes, because there's one time where she has a fight with the school president, and the animation, you can tell
Oh my
something
God.
shifts,
It was
and it's
such
like
a good fight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was like a
such good fight.
shonen. It was like a shonen anime all of a sudden, like bam, bam, sword fights, and I was like, wait, you forget what you're in? And for a minute, the animation shifted, music shifted, it was a shonen battle all of a sudden. It was like, what the heck is happening?
Okay, full disclaimer, we normally are not into battles like this, but this was such a good slice of life. Oh my God.
You was like, what, this not something you expected in this show.
You really, the more you watch it, the more you end up loving it. And it's the same with the mangas. I did mention the manga is
Oh, yeah.
a little more racy, a little
Yeah, and
but it still sticks to the premise of the anime.
as far as
And
you, yeah, as far as
right.
you read,
And in some cases it gets a little, it's
Weird.
too much talking.
yeah,
And if you just, overlook all of that, you will still love the manga as well. But
Yeah.
the anime itself is just perfection.
Yes.
It is the most perfect, one of the most perfect, I should say, animes that I know personally I've ever seen.
right.
There is nothing they could have done better. Now, according to some women, they think that one of the manga pages that shows Ryuuji
Drawn
as
differently.
Anime pretty, where
He looks more like he fits in.
He's stylishly dressed.
Yeah.
He's got the cute hair. He's got the anime pretty boy face.
Yeah,
And so many women and girls and so forth are going, they were cheated. This is the Ryuuji the anime should have had. But here's the point. If it had been that way,
The
it
whole-
would have missed the whole point
Yes.
of what the message was.
right, the whole anime would have been different. The shtick with him is that even though he's got all these nice qualities to him, he's got these slanted eyes from his dad, and because are they slanted or are they?
It's not that they're supposed to look. They're drawn like you would draw an evil character.
Yeah,
like on The Simpsons,
the
when they
shifty
go
eyes. That's what it
eyes.
is. That's what the correct word was. He's got shifty looking eyes, and then he gets around people. They don't know him, like they bump into him or something, and he's got this look. They automatically think he's gonna beat the crap out of them, and they give him his money. They run off. Teachers think he's gonna shank somebody. He's like, all I did was return my homework, and they're terrified of him. And he didn't have any friends except for Kitty Moore, because people were terrified he was gonna take out somebody just by staring at him.
Yes. And then as the anime goes on, as we learn and other people learn, that is just not how he is.
Right.
And he still has his, besides those, he's tall. He's good looking. He's not anime pretty.
Like somehow that's the turn
I
on
don't
for the women.
understand why people think
where they have go from a scale of 1 to 10. They all look
they're hot.
fine.
Let's just be honest. They're hot.
I mean,
and there's an anime hot that you don't get in any other
and
type
I guess because
of art, including a lot of American animation.
Yeah.
There's anime hot that's just, you know, it's top tier, and you don't see it anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think
he wasn't made that way, but he
on
was
purpose.
supposed to be.
On purpose, it was a different way of doing it. Instead of looking at the person first, you were seeing how he was first, and then maybe you found his looks attractive after, but you were seeing his personality, his traits, the qualities to him, and then that came later. This is what happened as the show went on. Because yeah, that was like one of the craziest things of it. We were seeing it offline because manga still keeps those traits, but they kind of act like, well, this is what should have been. Like, even the writers kind of do that to make like, oh, this is what helps sell the copies, because they even get to a point where they change the development and the pacing goes too fast and it's kind of obvious where it's going to go. So if this is your first time reading the story and you didn't see the anime, the surprise is spoiled for you already.
Right. So you're probably wondering, well, why did you do this for Valentine's Day? Because this is the most perfect love story you can think of from an anime we've recently seen.
Right.
It's perfect for Valentine's Day. As we mentioned in the beginning, we didn't.
Oh,
in the beginning, we forgot. Okay, in
How
the
do we do
beginning,
that?
after they have this encounter and he ends up cooking for Taiga, and we don't want to give away too much.
Right.
They end up deciding the best way to help each other would be to help each other get their crushes. So Taiga talks Ryuuji into helping her get Kinemura, and he talks her into helping him with Minoru.
Yeah.
And this is how the relationship is supposed to progress. They end up being friends. In the beginning, people think they're dating, and they're not. Of course, she threatens them. She threatens to beat the crap out of all the students in the class and tells them to apologize to him. And that's when you really realize what a force of nature she is.
Right.
Because all these kids, much bigger than she is, like, oh, we're sorry.
Yeah, we'll never do that again.
Mistaken. And Minoru says, I don't care what you say. I still believe it. Well, Minoru was the smart one in the entire anime.
Turns out,
it was like foreshadowing.
Yes.
But 90% of the anime consists of them trying to help each other get the crushes that they think they want.
Right.
But again, as each person's backstory and personality is revealed, you're beginning to see, oh, really?
Yeah, and that's for the drama.
Really doesn't.
Yeah.
Not a good match for you. And
some of them need help.
What's really hilarious is you hear all the stuff and read all the stuff online about Ryuuji, and he should have been anime pretty. But here's the funny part. In the anime, just like the writer wanted it to be, he's got a harem. All the girls eventually end up wanting Ryuuji by the end of this anime.
And then, the choice has been made. And then if you got people that, well, I wanted something else, well, you got to gain unless you do that.
And another thing that I pointed out when we were talking, I said, well, if he'd been anime pretty, then Taiga would have never had a chance.
Yeah.
She had a chance because, as you said, everyone thought he was this thug. He had one friend. He was a loner. They didn't really know anything about him. Mm-hmm. And if he had been the popular kid, the pretty boy, and he had been the one hot one, everyone wanted, and he had it, and he had a harem, she would have never had a chance.
Yes.
So the story needed to progress. The way it progressed, the characters needed to be exactly as they were for this story to play out exactly the perfect way it did, which makes it a wonderful Valentine's Day anime if you haven't seen it.
Right.
And if you have, watching it again.
Right. And one last thing we need to mention is that for the ending, people a little divide on it. And we were too in the beginning, but then we came to understand what the ending was. We're not going to spoil it, but when it gets towards this piece after episode 19, there's a lot of drama, and there's sort of this, you're really hoping for the best for them. It's like, please help them.
It wasn't going to end. You were like,
yeah. And I felt, yes.
Please don't be the last episode.
Yes. And we were, and the ending wanted to, and it feels like maybe for their story, maybe there wasn't enough time. And because it only had 25, which is odd for Japan to have an odd amount of episodes for a series or a season instead of 26.
Right.
And some people felt like, well, the ending felt kind of rushed. And it was in a little bit. And it felt like if they had 26, they could have stretched more out. So they added an extra scene. Like if you're watching this on Netflix, a lot of people didn't know this for a while. There's an extra scene after the credits that shows a little bit after with a happier ending. But you still wanted way more than that. It helped it. And it did help it, but you wanted much more. You wanted to see them.
You wanted a season 2.
Yeah.
That's just it. You wanted a season 2.
Yes.
Everything. Okay.
It was like Oron.
There was just everything. There was the right elements, the right ingredients for there to be a season 2. Why was there not a season 2? Why, oh why did you stop writing?
Right. Why was it season 2 or at least a movie to finish the story like Clannad had? Clannad had a movie to finish.
Then
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, okay, it's complete now.
Right.
But it felt like you just really wanted more because then you couldn't get enough of these characters in the ship.
Absolutely. And I know that if you haven't seen it, it sounds odd, but we're telling you, give this anime a chance. If you have Netflix and you've seen it pass by in recommendations and you've ignored it, this is the time to add it to your watch list.
Yeah,
and watch it. Today's the perfect day. Whether you're single or you are shipped, this is a perfect anime to watch. If you're a couple, you will enjoy it. If you're single, you'll forget about it and you'll just enjoy watching the development of this ship so much that you won't care, and you'll see how there's so much love amongst the characters being friends.
Yes.
And Ryuuji and his mom, and
And the
Ryuuji
bird.
and Tiger and the mom. Oh yes, and the bird.
That looks like it's like choking on something all the time.
It's just a perfect slice of life anime for you to watch for Valentine's Day. Binge it. Start
Some
it.
did,
if you can,
yeah.
At least start it, and we're telling you, you will not regret giving this anime a try.
Yes.
It should be a much watched on everyone's watch list. Not just if you like rom-coms, not if you just like slice of life, but regardless of the type of genres you love, this should be a must-watch for anyone because, again, it's one of the most perfect animes ever.
And we wish we had seen it sooner because it was on our list for a while. Long after Netflix added it, was in there for months because we just weren't sure if we're gonna watch it or not or like it.
I'm so glad I got them on.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I said, you know what, let's just give it a try. And I couldn't believe in the first few pages, I'm like, we gotta watch it. We gotta turn it on now.
And
Let's turn on Netflix now.
Right.
I don't want to wait now.
Right.
You gotta see this.
Right. And the final thing definitely gotta mention is that, you know, with us not knowing the outcome of what was gonna happen, with who, it was kind of like, remember you told me how when you watched Vulture and Defender, you assumed that Shiro and Keith were brothers and you hadn't even seen the rest yet. Well, I guess for me, somehow, some way, maybe the writing was just that good, just by a single frame they show from the end of the series that, okay, they're a ship, and just seeing one frame was enough to know the outcome and then find out and still get surprised by it. It was just like, it was written that well. One picture was enough to know, yes.
Okay. You said final, but there's another 2 more finals.
Oh my goodness.
So the final is Kinemura is voiced by Ichigo by Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah.
And at first, we kind of like, we recognized the voice, we weren't sure. And then when we saw the credits, like, oh my gosh, it's Johnny Young Bosch.
Yes.
And then it became apparent that it was Ichigo.
Yes.
But he does a fantastic job here as Kinemura because it's so unlike Ichigo, the character.
Yeah.
And you really like what he does with it in conveying the emotions and making you really see this character as he's intended to be seen.
Right.
And the final
yes, the final is the final thing. How many finals you got?
there is this video made by a YouTuber, and Rascal's gonna have it attached for you to watch this video, where he took the first intro, well actually it stayed the same entire series. He took the intro and...
Oh, you're right, it's changed.
Okay, he took the first intro and did it out one for everything that happened in the intro. He played all the characters and it's absolutely brilliant. It is a must-see. Click on that as soon as you finish this video. Click on it and watch it. It is amazing. Share it. Put it anywhere. Share it everywhere. This should be on TikTok and everywhere. This is just a brilliant tribute to this anime. I couldn't believe how great it was. You want to watch it over and over. He does an excellent job.
Yes.
So, do you remember the name of the channel?
Yes, the channel is called The Dancing Taco.
Okay, well, sub to him, watch this video, be amazed and enthralled and delighted and full of joy by the time you finish watching it.
Yes.
So if you have seen Toradora, especially if you watched it when it originally aired, let us know what you think in the comments. Do you love it? Did you hate it? Did you have a favorite character? Do you love the ship as much as we do? Do you love Ryuuji as much as we do?
Yes, because it's the
Do you
sweetest
love
thing at the
Taiga
end.
as much as we do? Let us know in the comments. If you haven't seen it, it's available on Netflix, the entire series.
All the
You can
wholesomeness.
also purchase the manga as well as the anime, but you know, full disclosure, it's really expensive, especially on Amazon.
Yeah.
Just watch it on Netflix. Do a free trial and watch all the anime you want
Yeah.
for 30 days. We guarantee you, after that 30 days, you won't want to cancel.
Yeah, especially with the manga still being made 10 years later and they're still not done releasing one volume a year.
Yes.
That's crazy.
But give it a try if you haven't seen it.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, include future updates on future podcasts and all the pause videos.
And most importantly, have a fantastic Valentine's Day, whether you're single or you're a couple. We love you very much, and we're so grateful for you.
Yes.
And that you're our family.
Yes.
You're beautiful.
So, thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.